Welcome to a new episode of People and Purpose by GMG Podcast. With me today is Abdullah Abdullatif, our VP Commercial Everyday Goods. We're going to be discussing today different strategies and business sustainable methods specifically related to the everyday goods business of GMG, which is the food retail business. Good morning, Abdullah,
Good
and
morning.
welcome
Morning.
to a new episode of People and Purpose.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Abdullah, we
Yes.
start most of our episodes with a traditional question of,
Yeah.
was this a passion or did you just fall into the industry?
It's you can say both combination of fallen and then it's turned to passion.
Okay, so it started by falling. Great.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about how you fell?
I I joined in 2006. I was in different industry, which more of fashion, and I got an opportunity to join as a logistic manager for the Farm Fresh in those days. And then I learned and I understood that this is in such a huge, industry. And there are a lot of things to learn here. Then I continued that journey till now, which is almost 20 years now.
But what made you stick to it? You ventured, you said you started in logistics. Now you're doing commercial. You started
Yes.
with factories and distribution. Now you're also working on the full spectrum from farm to fork on the commercial aspect. Something got you hooked. Is this an industry? Like when we talked last time with Imad about sports, sports
Yeah.
in general is an industry of passion.
Yes.
When we talk about food or FMCGs or food retail, in our case, as we ventured now, what would that passion that keeps you ongoing? Does it become expertise or does it become an actual hook to the industry itself?
See, I've been almost connected with most of the FMCG and FMB for past 20 years. And there is no boundaries in FMCG. You are connected to so many different sectors. And to be very honest, this is a lot of evolving things, a lot of changes happening in the market and in the customer and consumer product. You need to be talking to the multiple uh, industries at the same time. It's not like fashion and any other industries, which you have a limitation in terms of the product and categories. Here it is more wider when it's come to the categories and the product. So that's
That's going to open up a big question going forward.
yeah.
But before I go into that, what would you say are the largest challenges, particularly in the everyday good industry? Not only in GMG, but in general as an industry, and perhaps if that then reflects into GMG itself.
It is the common challenge which is available is that keeping up with the change and trends, what is happening at the market. We are catering more than 180 nationalities. So there are a lot of ethnicity product, a lot of trendy product. It's moving in the market from US to Europe to Middle East to GCC to UAE. And customer expectations are always very high, and there is for the grocery, for the supermarket to provide the product on the right time to them on their ethnicity, their cuisine, or the trend product. That is the challenge.
We're talking about a $40 billion industry at a 6.5% growth year on year. What do you believe is the GMG strategy to be able to compete? I reflect back to saying we're a farm to fork business also. So I'm sure there are different spectrums that cover the strategic approach.
There is still the FMCG market that you correctly said 40 billion, which is equivalent to 150 billion dirhams, and it's still growing. There is a huge opportunity for GMG to expand in this sector. But there is two type of the FMCG. One is people are competing on prices, discount, deep discounts, and all this thing. And there are retailers who are focusing on a customer experience, on the product experience, on and bringing something new and customize the product for the customer, or availability or assortment for the customer. So we are more into that area of the retail, looking of how we can improve the customer experience. You won't find many FMCG retailer are focusing on that segment, which is has a huge potential for the further growth.
But then you have geographical segmentations. You mentioned earlier ethnicity, right?
Yeah,
So I'm sure in Dubai itself,
mm,
in different locations within Dubai, your product mix changes.
yeah,
When you explore new products across that many different segments,
yeah.
how does that one commercially and viably work for you? Because like it's again fast moving, right? So with the fast moving industry, there's also that time to source, the time to jump on the trend. Uh, how do you manage such complexity of business in a speedy way?
But we ask them as the nature of the FMCG, very fast moving consumer, and we take very quick call and decision on onboarding supplier or onboarding the product. And if in case we face any challenge and any difficulties in sourcing certain categories of product for any ethnicity or any nationality, so we step in with our own brand to produce for the customer. So to make sure that the needed product is available for customer no matter what. We use air freight sometimes, to make sure the product is. It's not always about in the viability or profitability. It's more of you make sure that the right product is available for your customer since you operate a majority on a community supermarket. So this is a responsibility which we have. We need to make sure no matter what, the product is available for that community and ethnicity.
So two areas here to cover. One is the exploration of new international brands that you may be the first to bring or that are more ethnic relevance.
Mm.
How do you go about discovering those brands? That's one question. And the second question is you mentioned our own brands.
Yeah.
I know that we have a wide spectrum of brands, which probably can also take us through. Uh, when you have your go to market strategy, how do you decide which one you're going to explore? How do you which one? How do you decide which one we're going to produce? I know we have a huge added value having our own factories within GMG, and I know we've invested in state of the art factories in many cases. What makes that decision sway externally versus internally?
For us, quality plays the first role here. Okay, if we see in certain category of brands or product, the quality is not up to a standard, we search for look for a better quality and better brand from international market. We attend a lot of food shows across the world, from France to Germany to Netherlands to even the Gulf food. That is one source of the information. And the secondly is by doing a research on our customer and see what they want. When it comes to our own brands, for us, brand has a different objective rather than a private label of other retailer, for example. Others, the objective of the private label, the brand, what they have is how I can reduce the price and by compromising. I don't want to say it's quality, but somehow quantity, quality, or uh, many other aspects. But when it's come to the GMG, for us, our brand and any product sourcing has one objective. First of all, the quality of the product. If existing product in the market does not meet the standard of what we want to offer to customer, we go and produce them under our brand name. Second, if the product are not consistent in market, there is on and off, on and off, on and off. So that's a second step where we get into the producing either from our factory or we source it from an international market. The third thing is that the configuration of the packaging. For example, our customer, they want certain product in certain grammage, and in the international brand, those grammage or door case configuration or pack configuration is not available. So we go and pack them as per the customer requirement. We don't want to dictate to the customer saying, this is 1 kg, you need to buy it 1 kg. If our customer want a 500 gram, the demand is there. So if not available in international brand, we produce them for our customer.
So then you depend a lot on consumer insights.
Yes.
And I take it, looking at just the positioning of the brands, that you're also brand builders, not just product producers.
Yes.
What is the cycle that the business takes from determining the consumer need to the production to the placing the product on the shelf
In the market,
in the market for GMG.
years. For GMG, less than 4 months.
And the product is live.
Yes. Yeah, we are we are very fast in turning around the idea to a real product on a shelf.
So, from a consumer standpoint, two angles.
Yeah.
What's the appetite from the local consumer on locally produced products versus internationally sourced products?
Very high
On which one?
on fresh products, on
On local.
vegetable. Yes, locally produced vegetable, for example. There is a high demand. And not to forget, maybe you don't know, but today I can see most of the product which is in FMCG. When we talk about FMCG, it's not always about the grocery product, but from in dairy and chilled come to the grocery, come to the home cleaning, go to the disposable, come to personal care and all this thing. I can easily say, including the international brand, almost you can see more than 40% of products are locally produced, even if it is labeled international brand. So we have a good manufacturing factories in UAE, and the UAE origin has a very high credential in not only in the UAE but also in the region also, and sometimes beyond the region goes even to Europe. Example of the chocolate which was produced for Dubai, for example,
Yeah.
it has reached to and almost every nook and corner of the world. Yes, there is a trust of the customer. I'm pretty. There are a lot of product. If you come to a supermarket, if I take you aisle to aisle, you will see the majority of the products are produced in UAE.
And what would you say is the appetite externally? Like we have brands and the portfolio is very big. So, and I know part of it is also to take the name of the UAE externally to other markets.
Yeah.
Would you say that the consumer in other markets has the same appetite or are they opening up for it at least?
Yes, definitely. When it comes to the product origin of the UAE with the label of made in UAE, the customer has more trust because they know it is being. UAE is an example of the status and the quality, and that's reflecting of all the segment and sector and industries. So that is a very high trust and credential for the UAE origin.
So, with all those opportunities for growth for next year and the
Mhm.
future in general, what would be your priority of growth and development in the next 1 year?
We have, definitely we have an expansion plan of the number of the banner. We have in a pipeline good amount of the real estate which is coming up, which we will be operating. Since we are in FMC, we are more relying in developers to develop the communities and to be ready to hand over to us. Then we operate. That is one which we improve our banner, and secondly, we will be expanding a lot on our online business through the aggregator, through the partners, and um, and also the offering a new product, adding a new portfolio, a lot of exclusive brand. And this year we will be adding into our retail business, which will definitely help us to grow further.
You talked about trends. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of trends online on this controversy between man and woman when they go shopping, how a woman would probably choose every single fresh product one by one versus a man who would probably just buy a ready made pack. There's still that love of connection with fresh produce and product selection. Do you feel that that impacts the online business? Or is this still a driver for people to want to go to brick and mortar versus online? Or do you believe that that is just now history that's moving?
This it will be parallel. Both will be moving. So the still customer prefer to your big groceries. You definitely would like to go to a supermarket and touch the product and see if there is any new. You have a limitation still in online. You cannot have a store open in front of you and you pick and choose, right? Where you go in an offline, so you will see the offers, you will see the new brands, new product which is highlighted, which normally does not happen much on online platform. Touch of the product, what you correctly said, you want to pick and choose, my apple or orange or whatever it is. That's is there, and online is more of the it is the impulse buying or an emergency or something. It is not a very much planned purchase on a grocery. When you run out of something, you immediately want to have it. You will go to your application and you will order them. So both of them are growing. The impulse buying through the online and planned grocery buying. So both of them is parallelly growing very fast, which
Now,
is
we have different formats in different businesses. So, if we talk Giant, for instance, you have hypermarkets, you have community express stores. If you go into a Monoprix, for example, or Franprix, they serve different audiences and the product mix would be different. Can you take us through the differentiation point between all of them and how they to collectively cover our entire consumer? Obviously, without having to forget Aswak being mostly a competitive format to a Giant, right?
the brand plays the role, but eventually the area and the community where you operate, that determines what you should put in your supermarket if you operate in community. But if you want to put it, say what John is, who John is offering, and what a swak is offering and what Monoprix. Yeah, the product profile, the product assortment is different. That's not what is sold in Gion, and Gion customer is different versus an Aswak certain locations customer, and also the Monoprix. Monoprix is an premium concept of the retail, and the Gion is towards mass, and Aswak is mass towards an more of the Middle East customer. But no matter which banner or wherever we operate, so we look always what is to provide for the customer. One is the experience, second is the product. That's is in the DNA of the GMG. Provide the solution for your consumer or customer, regardless of whatever banner we operate or wherever we operate.
Abdullah,
Yes.
competition is huge. If
Okay.
you want to be number one, I need to know what makes you different. What's your USP?
We offer an experience, a shopping experience. Number one. Number two, when I say the brand of the house of the brand, it means I will provide you with the maximum number of the brands in that particular category, not dictating to you a brand, one or two, and fill our shelf with then private label. So we source product from France, from UK, from US, from the domestic market, the national brand of UAE and the national brand of the US, UK, and even the European countries also. That's the USP. That you won't get it in any other retailer to say, okay, I want to have a pasta, for example, from France, which is produced in France, sold in France, not available in an international market. That's what we provide. It means you go to the Gion, you will see that I have for every category a multiple brands are available. Give you a choice to choose. What do you want? Within different price uh,
Ranges.
ranges. So it's not putting everything is very low or everything is very high. So we are balancing this, keeping and giving you an option. Whatever you want to buy, you can pick.
Amazing. So, how does that make you different than Europe?
Europe, Europe now for now is moving a lot into that the hyper business in Europe is disappearing, is going on in convenience store. People are trying to convert part of their FMCG business into the food which is ready to eat product, and the online is growing. That's the thing. And otherwise, you go to all these big deep discounters. So it's not like how we have in our community. In every community, we have a supermarket. They don't operate the way we operate. Either they are more on a deep discount or the online or convenient, focusing more into the ready to eat product or food to go product or grab and go product. That's their way of doing things. We have a different approach in this part of the world.
But generally, I've noticed the one common thing across the world is yes, you see a lot of, let's say, discounted or more value driven product. But at the same time, the consumer is becoming very conscious of organic, vegan, and these are premium prices usually. How do you differentiate between the audience that wants let's say, or probably a mix of both? For certain areas, they want that high quality premium product that is niche, I consider at least, versus the ones that want to go into value. Do you bring them into the same space? Because the same customer sometimes might want both.
So now today we operate. It is it's a combine of both. We don't go uh, because there is no end to that segment of the deep discount on compromising the quality, compromising the experience, and compromising the customer service. You won't get, so everything has a price, right? The experience, what you get in an hour stores versus a deep discount, and the hygiene and the customer service and the range of the product, what we offer versus what they offer, there's no end to that, going down in terms of the quality, and go down on the experience, go down on the customer service. That is, uh, I don't think that will sustain forever, since how much a customer are going to buy your big bundles of 3 packs or 2 pack or 4 pack.
Well, with the number of family sizes we
So
have
some
here,
of the
maybe.
family sizes, but now is evolving, right? It's not like as it used to be. Where you will store now, you are my customer, for example. If I give you something 5 piece and very, I don't know, cheap price, would you pick because it is cheap? You will store them for a year.
No, I personally wouldn't, but I'm sure there are others that do, especially in occasions. Like, for instance, when you have Ramadan and you buy
We
a
take care of
bunch.
those occasions. On those occasions, and we are very competitive when it comes to our offering. Yes, but we are not converting the entire store into the discount. Forget about the experience, forget about the, I don't know, hygiene, forget about the customer service, and only focus. Yes, today we are very competitive when it comes to our promotion and events. GMG is very competitive.
So you
All
think
our
we're just
banners.
balanced
We
across
are
all
balanced. We are
aspects?
balanced. We are neither going on to that high level of, let's say I'm selling only organic, which is not affordable for the majority of the consumer. Neither I'm going and converting all our store into the just and discount and promotional.
You said something that when we go into an industry, we want to be number one.
Yes.
We are the largest sports retailer in the region, and we have been for very long. What made us decide to venture into the food industry and believe we can be number one? What was that decision that created that belief? Or what was the belief actually reversed? What was the belief that made us take that decision?
We believe there's changes happening in customer, on a consumer buying behavior, or on age range or ethnicity or the nationalities. We saw this, and then when you look at the market, you say market is still, majority are operating very traditionally, like many years ago. So there is no one was changing and adapting to the customer's need, the new gender, the new generation, the new nationality, the new people who are coming into the country. So we saw there is a big gap of change into the customer buying behavior, change into the mix of the nationalities, and also the Gen Zs, which is coming up. They have a different way of buying and purchasing in terms of the product. So we saw there is a huge opportunity for for us, for GMG, to venture into this business and expand it. Great opportunity.
No, and it's been a great journey now. It's been 4 years since we at least got into the retail business. Prior to that, people believe our first business was sports, but I always tell them it actually started with food.
Yes.
Abdullah, a lot of people are waiting to hear insights from you outside of possibly the questions that I have asked you. Do you have anything that you want to add that I haven't covered that our audience might want to listen to?
We will continue offering, the best quality and affordable price with a good experience. And we will be continuing offering you an assortment. We want to be a house of the brand for an FMC, for our customer to come and enjoy the shopping with us. So we are going to be a destination end of the day for for future for most of the customers here to come and enjoy the experience of shopping in FMCG. It's not an currently the majority of the retail is not a very pleasant, you know, experience, but we want to bring that GMG's good retail experience into an FMCG and making differentiation versus the other and saying this is also a different face of the retail FMCG which you can enjoy shopping while you are in a supermarket.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for listening and stay tuned to the next episode of People and Purpose podcast by GMG.